Hey guys, this is just Smash22 here, and I just got a hold of all my N64 games that I could find, and I'm gonna do unscripted reviews of all of them now. Already did it with all my Gamecube games. I'm gonna try and do it with just about every game I own. But for now, let's focus on the N64 games. Let's start out with Mario Kart 64. This has been one of the defining games of my childhood. It was the N64 days and PlayStation days and GameCube and PS2 days were mostly my childhood. This is a very fun game. It's excellent racing. You play as 8 characters: Mario, Luigi, Toad, Peach, Bowser, Donkey Kong, Wario, and Yoshi. So the characters in it, not too many of them to play as, but there's excellent balance between characters. Each character has like a different weight class or something that makes them unique. Some are faster than others, but some have like better drift and whatever. So great balance. Excellent track design. It's got a lot of tracks that are like really inspired from other Mario games, and there's even the level in the game with the actual castle from Super Mario 64. It looks exactly like it. It's a very fun game, although it doesn't have as much content as I would have hoped. Still an excellent game, though. I'm going to give it 9 out of 10. Good game. Okay, next up is Mickey Speedway USA. Now, this might seem like a little, like, cheap racing game, but actually I prefer this game over Mario Kart 64, believe it or not. Mostly because it's got so much more content in it. So you can play as like a whole bunch of Mickey characters: Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Goofy, Minnie Mouse, Daisy Duck, Pete, and Donald Duck's nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. But you have to unlock those 3, I think. So it's got unlockable characters, one thing that Mario Kart 64 didn't have. And it's got like really good balance, and I like this one better because it has more challenge. I found that Mario Kart 64 can be really easy, but both still great games, but Mickey Speedway is better. So I have to give it a 9.5 out of 10. Okay, next is Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. This was a game that I also remember, like, from my childhood especially. It's based off of Episode 1 of Star Wars, obviously. And it's got a whole bunch of racers. It's as far as I know, the best-selling sci-fi racer ever made. And you use the pod racers from the movie, and there's a whole bunch of courses. And you have like different difficulty levels. Like you start out with beginner, medium, and then really hard, and just hard. And there's upgradable abilities. You can upgrade your pod racers, and like there's stats. You just make the bars go higher on it. Make the speed go higher, acceleration, turning, all those, you know. So this one is actually, for me, better than Mickey Speedway or Mario Kart 64. Because there's so much content and a lot of strategy in the races and upgradable abilities. And you unlock a lot of racers later on. And it has excellent track design. So I'm going to give this one a 10 out of 10. Definitely. Next up, a game that isn't a racer. WF Warzone. This is a wrestling game that I have no knowledge of wrestling really. But this is a very fun game. You have traditional wrestlers, ones that are around, and then you have this mode in the game where you can create your own wrestler, and that's without a doubt the best part of the game. There's so many varieties of stuff you can choose for your wrestler. You can choose just about anything, change his appearance in just about every way, and his clothes and everything. It's almost as good as like Saints Row 2 customization, and that's pretty good for an N64 game. So this one's a ton of fun. The wrestling's got a ton of different moves, and yeah, it's playing a strategy and figuring out how to win. And I'm gonna give this one a 9.5 out of 10. Next up, Fighter Destiny 2. Now this one I've kind of criticized the N64 for one thing, and that's that they didn't have that many good fighting games. Like, if you play the PlayStation, you'll know immediately what comes to mind is Tekken, especially Tekken 3. That is one of the best fighting games ever, in my opinion. And this comes close to Tekken 3, but this is much better improvement over the original Fire Destiny. Much better graphics, better textures, better colors. And they have a whole bunch of modes, like some kind of story mode, and then there's this one where you have to like roll a dice or something. Well, it's a clock with numbers, and whatever number you land on, you move certain spaces. It's kind of like a game board, and you land on a space and you fight a certain guy. But you can learn new moves, and there's a few characters to unlock, but you have to look online basically to find them because it's hard to figure it out. But anyways, this is a very fun game, and there is a ton of fights. It's like way different from other fighting games, I think. And there's a point system in it, like for what kind of way you defeat the other fighter, you get a certain amount of points, and the points are like stars. This is a very fun game, so I'm gonna have to give it a 10 out of 10. Okay, Hybrid Heaven. This is like a turn-based fighting game, and it's like a third-person shooter sometimes. So you start out with playing as some kind of Indian guy, and you go around and explore this pretty empty world. It's pretty empty. There's not much in it. You go around and you let out some monsters or something, and you have to fight monsters in like a turn-based battle. The turn-based battles can be kind of slow, and they're not very like climactic. They're not too exciting. So it kind of gets boring and very repetitive at times, and you do have a gun, and you have to shoot these like camera things out of the way. They're like surveillance cameras, but mostly it's just a repetitive game, and it's not too much like fun as I thought it would be. I'm gonna give it a 6.5 out of 10. Okay, next up is, let's see here, Pokemon Stadium. This is another game that has kind of defined my childhood, and I've very much enjoyed it. It's got several modes. You can go battle gym leaders, or you can go in the stadium and battle. And there's one thing I always liked about it was you could link up your Game Boy games to it with a certain kind of game pack and play your Pokemon Game Boy games on the TV, and like that's really cool. The battles in the game, however, make this game especially hard because the accuracy for attacks in this game is extremely like difficult, and oftentimes, like, even when you choose certain Pokemon to beat others, it's sort of a luck game almost at times, because it's like really hard to win. It's a very difficult game, and a lot of times you have to rely on luck to win. And I like the graphics. For N64 graphics, this is like the best realization of Pokemon models in a game for N64 standards. So I'm gonna give this game a 8.5 out of 10. And I also have the sequel, Pokemon Stadium 2. This game is like really memorable for it outdoes the first one quite a bit. It's better, but much more content, and unlike Pokemon Stadium 1, you can also hook up Gold, Silver, and Crystal to Pokemon Stadium 2 and play those on your TV along with Red, Blue, and Yellow. So that's an extra bonus. It's really fun. And you also I forgot to mention, but Pokemon Stadium has these extra party games. They're kind of fun for a little while. But Pokemon Stadium 2 also has them, and it's like has many more of them. They're much more fun. And the Pokemon models are slightly more improved. There's more game modes, more gym leaders, and better balancing between battles. So overall, I gave Pokemon Stadium 8. So I'm going to give Stadium 2 an 8.5 out of 10 because it's a slight improvement. Okay, third Pokemon game on N64, Pokemon Snap. This is actually way better than you'd think it is. You might think it's just a Pokemon game where you just endlessly take boring pictures, but believe me, this is an excellent game. It's been one of my favorite N64 games, believe it or not. And like you can take pictures, there's like 8 or 9 levels you can go through, but even though there's so few, you can go through them multiple times and at least come out with like 20 different pictures every single time. That's how customizable it is in the pictures. And you get items to use to alter the pictures, make them better, and change it up a little bit. It just gets better and better as you go. Have way more in it. So, anyways, it is incredibly fun, and honestly, I like it even better than Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, so I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I definitely recommend this one for Pokemon fans. Alright, almost done. Next up is Donkey Kong 64. This is kind of similar to Super Mario 64 in a few ways. One of the main differences is the graphics are much better. You can play as several of the Kong characters: Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, Tiny Kong, Chunky Kong, and Lanky Kong. So that's 5 characters you can play as. Each one of them has unique abilities. Each one can only do certain paths. It has a lot of variety in a way. And that makes it a lot more fun, and it's among the best Donkey Kong games you could ever have. Heck, I say it's better than Donkey Kong Countries. So I'm going to give this game a 10 out of 10, because it's a ton of fun. Last but not least, Turok Dinosaur Hunter. Now this is a first-person shooter, and you go and fight dinosaurs. You also go kill some guys. You have a few guns in it, and you have like weapons such as knives and stuff. You gotta basically survive in the wild against these. The controls are really awkward. You have to use the yellow buttons, the C buttons, in order to move forward, back, left, and right. And you use the control stick to turn, so it's a really awkward way to move. And use the Z button and R buttons to aim and shoot for the guns and weapons, basically. And for graphics, I'm thinking it's only okay. Like, the textures are good, but it's kind of repetitive in a way. It's always seemingly the same graphics over and over where you go in the game. But overall, I've enjoyed this game, and I'm going to give it a 8.5 out of 10. Okay, so those are all the reviews of N64 games I have. I know people would want me to review like Super Smash Brothers, but I don't have that one. I only want to review the ones I have here. And I also had Super Mario 64, but apparently somebody took that, was being a jerk, being a douche. So anyways, I kind of wanted to review those two, but I don't need to right now. I'll probably do in the future, maybe. So, comment and tell me what you think, and tell me what kind of N64 games you love and what were your favorites. Comment, subscribe, and see you guys.